Now an update on a developing story we've been following. The state attorney's office is expected to release an update in the case of Lakeland Commissioner Michael Dunn. He's accused of shooting and killing a suspected shoplifter. Spectrum News 9, Stephanie Claytor is joining us live now at 5:04 from Bartow. Stephanie, tell us what is happening out there this hour.
Well, Veronica, the state attorney's office told us that it would include its investigation into the shooting involving Michael Dunn by the end of this week. So I've been out here outside the Polk County Courthouse all day waiting for an update. Now, let me recap this case for you. This is surveillance video that you are seeing of Lakeland Commissioner Michael Dunn shooting Cristobal Lopez. It appears that Dunn was trying to prevent Lopez from stealing a hatchet. Now, Dunn he co-owns the Vets Army Navy store where the shooting happened, and the surveillance camera video was released on Monday, 2 weeks after the shooting. Now, again, I'm standing outside the Polk County Courthouse. Lots of people have come out of that courthouse in the past couple of minutes, but we have yet to receive an update on what will happen in this case involving Lakeland Commissioner Mike Dunn. We're also waiting to find out if the state attorney will file charges in this case today. I'm live here in Bartow. Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Right now we have Stephanie Claytor live from the jail with the latest as we're continuing to watch Commissioner Michael Dunn's booking process. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Veronica. I am here at the central booking for the Polk County Jail. You can see behind me, Michael Dunn just walked into those doors, and those 4 detectives from Lakeland Police, they shielded him as he walked past our cameras and as he was fingerprinted and booked into this jail. Then they took him to your left over there into another room where he'll have to be searched and then booked into jail again. This all just happened. Let me swing that camera around this way. You'll see there were 2 cars that came in here. Michael Dunn came out of that second car against the wall in the back seat, and again 4 detectives walked with him and surrounded him as he walked through this area and into central booking. We're still waiting to hear from the state attorney as to what he has been charged with. And again, Veronica, if I have any more updates, I'll bring it back to you. Reporting live here in Bartow, I'm Stephanie Claytor. A Polk County grand jury handed down the second-degree murder indictment. Michael Dunn was at his attorney's office at the time. His attorney said that Dunn got emotional and then waited for detectives to take him into custody. Commissioner Dunn, what do you have to say about this? This is Lakeland City Commissioner Michael Dunn with nothing to say as he was escorted inside the Polk County Jail by 4 detectives. State Attorney Brian Haas and Lakeland Police Chief Larry Giddens held a news conference shortly after.
I have determined that this case and the actions of Mr. Dunn fall outside of the protection of the Stand Your Ground law. It is important that this process go forward, that the victim, the victim's family, the defendant, and our community receive a fair process and a fair trial. And we are committed to continuing to work diligently to accomplish that.
Although this investigation may have taken longer than some would have liked, we had an obligation to do it right. And that is what we will always do to ensure that the citizens of this community can continue to have faith and confidence in us.
This is surveillance video of the deadly October 3rd shooting, showing Dunn shooting Cristobal Lopez, who is suspected of stealing a hatchet from his store. Dunn's attorney, Rusty Franklin, says his client is the real victim.
This situation was commenced and started not by Michael Dunn. Someone made a choice to shoplift. Someone placed a hatchet in their pants. Someone had every opportunity to abandon their criminal offense that they were engaged in. Mr. Dunn then was confronted with a situation where he sees an axe and the axe is coming towards him.
Franklin said he's unsure if his client will use the Stand Your Ground defense. Dunn is being held without bond. While Dunn's attorney said that his client was scared of the hatchet, in the arrest affidavit, detectives wrote that Lopez never made any threatening movements toward Dunn during the incident. And also interesting to note, if you look at the arrest affidavit from Lakeland Police, it says that they advocated for a manslaughter charge. Ultimately, State Attorney Brian Haas handed this case over to a grand jury, which came back with that second-degree murder indictment. And State Attorney Brian Haas tells me that Dunn could be facing up to life in prison if convicted. Reporting on scene here in Bartow, I'm Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.
Right now at 5, we are waiting to see if former Lakeland Commissioner Michael Dunn will be getting out of jail. A judge granted him a $150,000 bond. He was arrested and charged for killing an accused shoplifter in his military surplus store on October 3rd. Spectrum Bay News 9, Stephanie Claytor is joining us live outside the jail with our top story and new information. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Veronica. Yes, I'm standing outside of Central Booking, and I just heard from Michael Dunn's attorney. He said that Michael Dunn has posted bond, so we expect Michael Dunn to be released from this jail sometime this evening. Now, another development in this case, we learned today that Michael Dunn has added Mark O'Mara to his defense counsel. You'll recall that Mark O'Mara was a defense attorney for George Zimmerman when he was acquitted of the second-degree murder charge related to the killing of Trayvon Martin. Michael Dunn's wife, Brandy, was overjoyed when she learned her husband could bond out of jail.
I'm happy to have my husband home. We're going to let the rest of the process work.
Dunn was arrested Friday and spent the last 6 days in protective custody. The bond hearing felt more like a trial. 3 witnesses were called to the stand.
You got to fill in the context. And, you know, the 3 or 4 moments around that event, I think were very telling, but we're simply not told by that video.
One witness, store employee David Duncan, testified that before the deadly shooting, the victim, Cristobal Lopez, pointed the hatchet at him, saying he'd pay for it. Duncan was calling the police at the time. Duncan said he also had a concealed weapon.
Did you ever think about maybe reaching out and trying to take the hatchet from Mr. Lopez?
I say that I regret that when he walked up in front of me as I was dialing, that rather than backing up to create distance, that I wish I had snatched the hatchet out of his hand.
How about drawing a firearm? Yourself?
I think with my, what would you want to call it, demeanor or reaction, I don't think I would do that unless he had initiated swinging it at me across the counter.
Both the prosecutor and defense counsel agreed Dunn should be given a bond. Some of Michael Dunn's conditions for release include house arrest, and he also has to surrender all of his firearms. That means he can no longer work at his military surplus store because guns are sold there. Michael Dunn also surrendered his passport in court today. Reporting live in Bartow, I'm Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9. Less than a day after former Lakeland Commissioner Michael Dunn literally sprinted out of jail on bond, the Lakeland Commission had the tough task of filling his seat. He resigned earlier this week.
I think we were all shocked to see what had occurred, and I'm very grateful for the process that took place, and I think it was done very appropriately.
The commission voted 5-1 to appoint Don Salvage to fill the spot on an interim basis. He served in the same commission seat before Dunn.
I think it's a non-controversial appointment. I think he has served that area well in his 8 years on the commission.
Salvage found out he was appointed soon after the meeting.
I found out when Stephanie called me.
Semi-retired, Salvage said he told Commissioner Justin Troller he'd serve as the interim if asked.
I have mixed emotions. This is under tragic circumstances. I didn't apply for the position, but I'm honored that the commission has enough confidence in me to ask me to come back and serve for a couple of months.
The commission voted to have a special election for the seat on January 15th, and Mayor Bill Mudd says he's already heard from several people who say they're interested.
We have some wonderfully talented, capable people who have said we want to run.
Mayor Mudd said 8 or 9 people have reached out to him. Don Salvage said he's not one of them.
So you can put this in the archives. I have no intention of running for this seat.
In Lakeland, Stephanie Claytor, Spectrum Bay News 9.